Do you have an NFL team that you're a fan of specifically?
Well, yeah, I do. I grew up a huge Oakland Raider fan. I don't know why. I remember when I was a little kid, I sat down when I was about 6 years old, and my grandpa was watching a black and white TV. It was a Steelers-Raiders game, and I said, "That's my favorite team." And he said, "Which one?" I said, "The one's in the white." And that happened to be the Raiders. I love their helmets. And then from that day on, I just became a huge Raider fan. And then about somewhere around the time they got Jay Schrader, I kind of wobbled, and then I was living in Florida from Nebraska, and so the Buccaneers were closer to me. So, I still followed the Raiders. I was kind of searching for another team, and then in the '90s, I saw Brett Favre in the late '90s. Brett Favre was wearing a "Get Her Done" Larry the Cable Guy T-shirt in a spring game. And then I just became a huge Packer fan, and then I married my wife. My wife went to a school in a small town in Wisconsin, so I just adopted the Packers and went full bore Packers. But I will say, I know it's a crime to like two teams, but no. I like both of them. I like the Raiders and the Packers.
That's fine. I mean, it's certainly if Favre is wearing a shirt with your phrase on it, I mean, that's the end of that, Larry. I mean, that's...
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't... And I actually went to like 3 games. I got to sit in his box next to Deanna. My wife was there and went down and ate nachos and cheese with his special recipe. I mean, he was awesome. Now, I do feel bad, though, because I know more about the Raiders than I do the Packers.
That's fine. That's all right.
Let me tell you this quick story. I remember... before I ever got into golf, I got into golf about 10 years ago, but I was working at an outdoor event, beautiful, and I wish I could remember the name. It's in Northern California, overlooking a huge lake, and they always had a golf tournament there, and I went there. I guess I was the entertainment for the golf tournament, and they asked me if I wanted to go to the pairings party, and I said, no, I don't golf. I don't even know what it is. I'm just going to go backstage, kind of enjoy the scenery, go over some jokes, and so I go backstage, and she came back in. She goes, "Boy, I wish you'd have went down there. They were asking if you were going to come down there." So, well, what is a pairings party? She said, "Well, every year we have a golf tournament, and it celebrates an NFL football team. And this year it was the world champion 1976 Raiders." I about crapped my pants. I said, "You got to be kidding me." And I said, "Are they coming to the show?" She said, "Yeah, a lot of them are in your meet and greet." And by gosh, that night I met Ray Guy and Freddie Bolitnikoff and Cliff Branch, and I mean, it was awesome. And that was one of my biggest thrills in comedy, being on stage and looking at the third row and watching Freddie Bolitnikoff doubled over and laughing.
That's it.
I'm telling you, that was one of my all-time favorite shows.
Well, as long as you didn't shake hands with Lester Hayes, because your hand would have stuck to his, Larry.
Yeah, no kidding.
You'd have that stick him on.
I will say, though, that Ray Guy was backstage with us. He wanted to stay backstage with us because my opening act was from West Virginia, and my manager was from West Virginia. And so he stayed backstage with us and stood off the side of the stage. And for about an hour and a half after the show, he was bitching at all the sports writers about not making the Hall of Fame at the time.
Well, he can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore.
I know. Now he's finally in. But I'll never forget, Rich, he goes, "Man, they just don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's not how far you hit the ball, it's where you put the damn football."
That's exactly right.